I would like to welcome everyone to the Warwick Symposium. I am Katie Custer, the co-director of the Warwick Project and the executive director of the Atlantic World Marine Archaeology Research Institute. Before we get started, though, I want to let you know that the paper by Mr. Jeffrey Delisco will not be presented today. He was unable to come at the last minute. However, if you have any questions about the ballasting of the Warwick, please see myself or Pio during the break or after the symposium, and I'm sure we can tell you more about the ballast than you ever wanted to know. I also want to let you know that the title of the symposium, Guns, Provisions, and the Governor, the Wreck of the Warwick, will actually make more sense as you learn about the history of the wreck. And you are also going to hear about the construction of the vessel, the artifacts, and many other details about this amazing shipwreck. However, I want to take a minute and tell you about the institutions and people involved because they're the ones that made this an exceptional project. First, I would like to recognize Atlantic World Marine Archaeology Research Institute, which is otherwise known as AMARI, for sponsoring this symposium. The generous grants by the board members made it possible for many of the graduate students to attend this meeting. I would also like to recognize the National Museum of Bermuda. We're actually very fortunate to have Dr. Edward Harris, who I saw slip in the door. And if he's not here, I'm going to tell everyone that he's going to buy you a drink at the bar tonight. Actually not. I will get in trouble for that one. Dr. Harris is the executive director of the National Museum of Bermuda and has been a valued supporter of the project, and we are very happy to have him with us today. And the staff at that fine institution has been conserving all of the artifacts for the Warwick, and they have also developed a new Shipwreck Island exhibit, which features artifacts from the Sea Venture as well as the Warwick and many other shipwrecks, and is actually worth the trip to Bermuda. There's actually other reasons too, but it is one of those fine reasons. And they have dolphins at the museum, which is also very cool. The other co-collaborators of this project were the Institute of Nautical Archaeology and the Center of Marine Archaeology and Conservation at Texas A&M University. And the National Museum of Bermuda actually kindly supported the INA annual board meeting in Bermuda this last November. We're also very lucky to have Jason Pataniti from the Global Exploration and Oceanographic Society, who became a valued friend and supporter of the project and is actually now a supporter of the Tobago Shipwrecks Project directed by Dr. Krumbacherov. And Jason secured us free housing and food for the project at Rosewood Tuckers Point Resort. And it's not often that you get such nice accommodations, which are 5 minutes from the site, and they deliver catered lunches to you. So we will put a very big slide of them because it was very nice. And also the Pro Foundation, which supports Texas education, and their generous grants actually allowed us to finish excavating the Warwick in 2011 and 2012. Ross Perot is also a neighbor, as our site is conveniently located right in front of his house in Bermuda. If you have to have a shipwreck, make sure it goes down in front of some, very wonderful neighbors. Let me start over there. We had many exceptional scholars and students from several institutions working on the Warwick project. We truly believe that collaborative effort between international institutions, universities, museums, and researchers is the best way to achieve the highest level of scholarship. The core of the team were professors and students from the Nautical Archaeology program at Texas A&M University, but we also had fine scholars such as Dr. Krumbacherov from the University of Connecticut and Ms. Susana Vallejos from the Vasa Museum, Mr. Jeffrey Delisco from California State University, Dr. John Adams from the University of Southampton, Mr. Nigel Nyling and Dr. Gemma Bazan from the University of Wales, and Ms. Amandeep Mahal from the University of Nottingham. There were also several local Bermudians working on the Warwick team, including Captain James Davidson, who is with us today, Mr. Robert Zuhl, who kindly produced a documentary film for us on the Warwick, as well as several local students and international volunteers. Our staff members, Doug and Mike, who have been with us from the very first season, and they are looking very tan in this picture, And along with Marine, they kept the project running with their tireless efforts and enthusiasm. We also had several friendly marine creatures who took up residence on the site, including the octopus you see here and many, many lobsters that we were not allowed to eat, as well as a large school of hogfish who lived under the barge and quite willingly ate the leftover mystery meat sandwiches. And the foundation of the work project was based on the first excavations at Cape Caledonia. Dr. George Bass often said that the best projects were run by dedicated staff and their families. We decided that the Warwick family was not just a collaboration of great scholars, but their husbands, wives, and children. And this was also very important to Piotr and I as one of the very, very few married co-directors of a project. And we also decided that it was the perfect time to have children. Some of our other families included, which that was actually my sarcastic voice. It wasn't the perfect time. No. Some of our other families included father and daughter Kevin and Leah Chrisman. And for those who know Dr. Chrisman, his daughter Leah is going to give him a run for his money in a few years. Husband and wife Rodrigo and Samilia Rodriguez, as well as many other couples. And we worked really hard on the Warwick project, often staying up late into the night and giving up beautiful weekends off to work on drawings and transcribing our notes. Our team members were extremely dedicated scholars because this project was theirs as much as our own. We also thought hard. This actually is one of my favorite pictures, and laughed hard. And each team member was responsible for teaching each other, as well as volunteers, about every aspect of archaeology. I'm actually going to pay for these pictures tonight. Teaching each other about every aspect of archaeology, from tying knots to recording methods to driving the boat. And when we worked too hard and started falling asleep in the V-berth using the tarp as a blanket, we took the day off and explored the island. The work team was also committed to public outreach. Knowledge is meant to be shared, and archaeology will only stay relevant if we teach the public about their maritime heritage. All members participated in the weekly lectures for the residents of the Tuckers Point Resort, as well as interacting with the public, both young and old, so they too could appreciate the beauty of what we do. We also led tours and gave lectures to high school students through the Biological Research Station in Bermuda. And this was simply a great project because of the people and institutions involved. We have many wonderful memories and stories, and we very much thank you for coming to our symposium.